Welcome back to Kingdom Kast. This is your host, Bad Luck Chuck. We are back at it again for another week. Over to the top right hand corner is my guy Country, and over to the bottom is my guy Boogie. As everyone knows, the training camp schedule has officially been released for Kansas City Chiefs. Fans have been anxious to get back to St. Joe. It's been a year and some change. Due to the unfortunate circumstances, we weren't able to flex in our Super Bowl champions gear, but it's all good. We're back at it, and we'll get to that here in a second. But we got to get this breaking news out the way. As everyone knows, earlier in the week, Frank Clark got caught with the Uzi, the strap, the blicky, whatever you want to call it. It was in a duffel bag. It was just a regular traffic stop. Got pulled over. Believes in Cali, whatever, and he got taken to jail. But it's still under investigation and everything. The latest we heard is that the weapon belongs to security. So,
allegedly.
Allegedly. So hopefully moving forward, there's some good news that come out of it. The bad part about it is it's the second time that he got caught to this similar situation in the off season. So want to get your guys' opinions on it, man. Where we want to start?
I mean, it's kind of hard to judge, because in LA, well, I've been hearing that LA got like strict gun laws. I ain't never even been to LA, but apparently they don't play about their guns, about whatever. I get why you have to have a gun, especially like Frank Clark. Man, like, and especially in LA, like I get why you have to protect yourself, but I don't know, like 2 random traffic stops, you know what I'm saying? It sounds kind of fishy to me, but a big black guy with crazy hair in a Lambo truck, yeah, you got to be careful riding around like that. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't judging him. I ain't mad at him either. I'm riding with him on it, but you just can't get caught up like that, bro.
Yeah. Go ahead, bro.
I'm like I like what Chris Carter said, man. Keep you a fall guy, man. You gotta do it. Keep you a fall guy, man. He ain't doing no crime or nothing. I mean, the type of gun, I guess, but get somebody to ride with you, bro.
Yeah, I think he got that under control, man. I mean, by the looks of it, allegedly. So, but yeah, man, like I didn't know he was riding around the Lamborghini truck. First of all, that's how you know these cats got bread. But but second of all, man,
hey, he need protection for a car like that, Chuck. Come on.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But thing is, though, like I wish he would have just checked to see if the duffel bag was closed. You know what I mean? Just in case the officers want to try him with that. But my thing is this: like, why are the officers even searching them anyway? Like, did Frank allow them to search the car or what? I just curious to see how that entire ordeal was, man.
Well, he had violated a traffic code, whatever that means. So either his license plate wasn't right, his tent was too dark, he had his music too loud. It's something, you know what I'm saying? Which is, coming from where we come from, bro, like, how it is sometimes. But, I mean, you just got to ride smart.
We don't know.
Yeah, you just got to ride smart, man, And when you ride dirty like that, bro, it's no speed, it's no nothing like that. You just got to. I don't know. It's hard to speak on because we don't really know none of the facts, bro. Like, we just know he got pulled over for some reason. He had, oh, man, he tried to talk about my hat. Nah, bro, this official, bro. It's official like a whistle, dog. This is new era.
This is the gas station joints.
Yeah, no, dog. No, Slim. Nah, this ain't no gas station joint. I wouldn't do you like that, bro. I wouldn't even wear that for real. I mean, you just gotta be more careful and more aware of your surroundings, and you do gotta protect yourself, bro. Like, I heard Frank he not no sucker. So he wearing his jewelry. He in a Lambo truck. You got to protect yourself in them situations. Now, I would prefer you had a security guard sitting with you that had it. And, bro, let's be honest. Is it crazy because it was a Uzi? Like if it was like a regular, if it was like a 9, nobody would be like, ah. If it was like a Glock, you'd be like, yo, man, he got caught with the heater on him. But a Uzi, the Uzi sound crazy, bro. That just make it sound.
He a legend, man.
Yeah, it is fitted though. Yeah, it's fitted, bro.
Hey, so what y'all think? I seen what Chuck was talking about already. I know what he think, but what you think about people saying this is a way to get out that contract though?
Man, I was mad about that, man. I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, why is that the first thing that comes to y'all minds, man? When he gets caught up like that, like, come on, y'all. Like, what I've learned from the previous Chiefs off seasons is to let stuff play out and see how it goes, man. Everybody want to jump to conclusions and stuff, man. It's ridiculous. And like, yeah, I get it. He hasn't lived up to the contract, numbers wise, production wise, overall. But you know, the offseason moves that the Chiefs have made, I mean, it's gonna help him get back to being that guy that gets double-digit sacks or, you know, force a few fumbles and all that stuff. So it was just classless by a lot of Chiefs fans.
Man, you know we in the social media area, bro. So everything is quick. You know what I'm saying? Your response got to be quick, and you got to respond with fury and rage. Like, yo, cut it. It's like, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? Let it play out first. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know exactly what he did, but you know how fans is, bro. We used to be fans.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when we was younger, yeah, we overreacted to some things here and there. But you know, as I've gotten older, you know, I've learned from that, and just to learn to let stuff play out because some of this stuff is just fishy. It's tricky. You know what I mean? Because like we
Yeah.
only know like the little bit when the headline first come out. You know what I mean? We just gotta wait for more details to come out. You know, and we don't know how long that takes in these situations.
Yeah. Yo, how did that Dwayne Bowles situation play out? Did he get suspended for that? You remember the Dwayne Bowles Sonic thing?
Yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
it 2 games? He got suspended. He missed a game for that.
He had like weed on him.
Yep.
He had a burner on him too, though, didn't he?
No.
I forgot. So I ain't gonna put that.
Right. I don't know about
Yeah, I
that.
ain't
No, I
gonna put
don't
that on
remember that.
Debo. You know what I'm
He
saying?
got caught with some weed, bro. No.
Yeah, it was just weed. Okay.
Yeah, I just remember the weed.
Going to Sonic. Shoot. Hey man, but weed ain't even as bad as it used to be. Like they ain't even know that's like a slap on the wrist now, you know. So
It should be.
I mean, I think he got a I think Frank got a good lawyer. He got money, pleaded down to a misdemeanor, you get a fine. Make sure your security got your heat on you, bro. Not you. Put the heat on your security and then ride like that, bro. Ride legal, man. We don't need no more. We already short at defensive end. We don't need to lose Frank.
Yeah, and like I was listening to Carrington's little short podcast he does on YouTube. Him and Matt Verdami, they discussed the situation and like he brought up, you know, the Chiefs needing to for sure shore up the defensive line. And even before this incident, I said I think the Chiefs need to address the defensive line anyway. So I mean, I know Melvin Ingram's been brought up many times on this show. And, you know, Everson Griffin, but we don't know. He might be leaning towards retirement. But there are some guys out there, Justin Houston, maybe as a reunion. But like I said, the Chiefs needed to beef up the defensive line even more regardless, because you definitely want a great front seven if you want to get back to the bowl. Or at least good. At least a good front seven.
If we brought back Justin Houston, I would be shocked. Because I don't think Justin really messed with the front office. But I don't know if that was like Dorsey or if that was like Beach. You know what I'm saying? Things might have changed. He's been gone for what, 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah.
So things might have changed. And he might be
Another,
looking for a job, you know what I'm saying? But I'd be shocked if we brought Justin Houston in. I would
another
love
thing
to see
is,
it though.
if we got Justin Houston, then we would probably be getting rid of Frank Clark because they're moving Chris Jones to DN, right?
Well, I don't know if that's permanent. I thought they was just like moving them around in like certain situations.
Yeah, like
Like on
spot
third down,
dude.
maybe.
But it might be permanent though. You never
It
know.
sounds like it'll be
Depending on how
permanent
it
to
plays.
me.
That's
I
interesting.
don't know.
It's permanent. That's interesting.
I mean, it depends on how Reed play out. If Reed is dominating, you got Reed and Naughty inside. You kick Jones to the outside, and if he getting things done, he should be a beast out there. Like who can hold him inside, let alone outside in space. So I mean, we'll see how it works. Like we talk about training camp today. That'll be something to watch to see how many times he line up outside and what he do.
Slim got a question.
Slim.
You don't think you'll have to drop weight a bit to permanently play in?
I think he's explosive enough.
Yeah, I think he's still pretty explosive.
Yeah, he carry his weight well. You know what I'm saying? Maybe though. Maybe if he lose 10, 20, maybe that'll give him some more speed out there. But I don't want him to lose his
quick first step though.
Yeah, true. Maybe we should bring D4 back.
Come on, don't start that.
Didn't you see them comments? Didn't Kyle Shanahan say he hope he play this year?
Not to laugh at that, but
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he said D4, man. D4 had a lot of potential, bro. He just never reached it, bro, and then injuries prevented him from reaching it. Like so, that's kind of sad, bro. It's tragedy.
I was outside.
You said what? Did he pause? Did he freeze?
Oh shoot!
Uh-oh. Thunderstorm at Boogie.
Oh, there he is.
I'm back.
All right. Cool. All right. Well, let's not keep our special guest waiting for much longer. As he trains.
Drum roll.
So, I'd like to introduce a former 10-year NFL veteran. He played for the Washington football team. We can't call them Redskins no more. The football team, Philadelphia Eagles, our Kansas City Chiefs, and the Houston Texans. He's a co-host of Defending the Kingdom. He's also worked on the sidelines with BJ Kissel before, do a little pre-game stuff. So I'd like to bring on Mr. Barbershop Shawn, a.k.a. Shawn Barber, the Kingdom Kast this week.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Shawn? How you doing this evening?
All right. Let me see that video. I got to make sure I'm looking good and everything is going right. All right. Sorry about the background, man. My first computer all set up with the Chiefs thing that went down. I think over the last week or so, my kids got on there and changed all my passwords. Got all my systems going. There's all kind of craziness on there, so I just said bump it. So now I'm on my wife's computer in the office. So it don't look as kingdom friendly as it used to do. So it's just gonna have to do until the next time. The next time I'm invited to get on, I'm gonna do the audio and the mic check. I'm gonna have all that right, and then we're gonna really throw it down. So next time you're gonna get the whole full shebang.
I see the vision board in the back. I'm digging it.
Oh no, we got the vision board. The vision board is serious. We got 5 boys and a girl in this house. All these young men and women. We are growth mindset out the wazoo. Everybody is talking about future 5-year, 10-year plans. What can we do from an educational and experience athletic? What can we introduce them to that they haven't been introduced before? Want to get them fully involved, well-traveled, well-versed, all that. So,
yeah, that's what's up. I like that.
No doubt. So what we talking about now? I heard some discussion about Frank Clark, what the Chiefs gonna do. What we talking about?
So do you think that people are reacting the way they are because he had a Uzi in the car?
Well, I mean, it wasn't like it was a missile launcher. I mean, I can think of about 10 things that could have been worse than a Uzi. I mean, like Uzi got small bullets, man. I grew up in the hood in Richmond, Virginia. I'd rather somebody shoot at me with a Uzi than a 45. 45 stop you in your tracks. I can keep on going after little Uzi shots. I can keep on going after that. So he was just trying to protect himself. Obviously, at the end of the day, man, we all as players, man. I've been around a long time, man. I've seen guys, carry stuff on them. I've seen guys that got stuff locked up in the trunks. I mean, all the different gamers, right? From guys that like myself, like I don't touch guns. I don't want nothing to do with them. I got hurt as a young kid messing with a gun, and that was it. That was it for me. So I preach just just leave them alone. But I understand some other guys have affinity for them. They love to go to the shooting range. It's a way for them to have an outlet, a release. Now, I don't know nobody taking the Uzi to the shooting range, but that might be a different, that's a whole different topic. So I think his statement is that it wasn't his. So it was, it belongs to somebody else. I know in my vehicle, like I said, I got a bunch of kids. There's stuff always left in my car. There's a lot of stuff in my car that ain't mine, but as we know, the responsibility comes on the driver and whoever owns the car. A lot of times, whatever's in that car, the consequences kind of fall on your shoulders. So whatever happens from it, there'll be a lesson learned. Hopefully, the league doesn't suspend them for any games.
Yeah. I had my daddy gonna kill me if you ever see this. I was playing with my daddy gun, and I ain't know 380s that had no safety on it. So I was and like that, and I really almost pulled the trigger on it. But I realized it didn't have no safety on it. I put it back. I was like, and that was the last time I ever played with a gun. Like, for real. Like, it's that serious. And if you mess up, bro, you don't know what you're doing. You could really, really hurt yourself, for real. You can kill yourself. Bottom line, period. So, yeah, I don't play with guns either, so I'm like you, man. I don't play.
Yeah, I only mess with BB guns, man. I'm only messing with BB guns.
What you out there shooting squirrels and rabbits and stuff? You got a garden in the back. You trying to keep the raccoons and stuff out your garden?
Nah. Actually, this is when I was little, man. Was me and my second oldest brother. We was trying to shoot at the beer cans, empty beer cans. Whoever shot the beer can first, playing little games like that. So that's the only time I mess with it.
Guns, yeah, everybody had those growing up. So it is what it is, man. I just hope people don't blow it out of proportion. Obviously, it wasn't a discharge firearm. It was just, obviously everybody, the stigma with those weapons. It just ain't the time and place for those things right now in this climate. So whatever you can do as a current player, man, to keep your name out of the headlines, that's a good thing. Ain't no positive press going on right now between now and that first preseason game. So you want to just keep your head low, go to work, start chopping the wood, get your practicing, get your lifting the weights, get yourself ready for the season. Keep your name out them headlines.
Yeah, it's like Herm Edwards say, "Don't be on done and that." Like this is the worst time. Yeah, we don't need nobody on Sports Center at all, bro.
In a negative light. Only when we making plays. So
yeah.
But yeah.
So speaking of training camp, we just got the schedule released. We finally get back to St. Joe. I know the fans been waiting on that. I know you probably personally been waiting on that. You've been on a variety of teams with a variety of coaches. Who had the hardest training camp for you?
Oh, no doubt, Andy Reid. And Andy Reid, we went live twice a day. We call it Special Cat. The Special Cat period was just, it's fully padded up, strap up, take them down to the ground. You moving the ball. It's just like live football. And they start a drive. If you want to get off the field, then you got to stop the offense from getting the first down. If they get into the red zone, then they keep on going until they score it, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown. So those Special Cat periods are real. And in training camp, before obviously I'm a 93 to 2007, so I'm playing the years before we had all the extra eyes and all the extra provisions, and you can't go 2 days in a row. You can only go one padded day, and you can't practice more than 3 times in 4 days. So all these new rules that came after I played. So I know Andy, we had a thing where you came in, and I think we actually had like 7 padded practices in the first 4 days. So it was like padded, shells, padded. In the first like 3 days of practice to just set the mindset, just get you right. But we always had a shorter training camp. So he practiced you hard and long, but he didn't do the whole like 35 days. I know at some point there was a camp because that 5th preseason game there were some people that went to camp a week early, and so they was in camp almost 40 days. I think near the end of my career when they started that Hall of Fame preseason game. So it was those two teams that would go to camp early. But Andy always has enjoyed having a short, 3-week, 20-some day camp. But it was always intense. It got you ready to play. It got you ready for what you was going to see during the season. And so you can tell by his career, he's always been a coach that comes out the block fast. His September record is probably second to none because he works the players in training camp and have them ready to go right in week 1. And so most of the players probably say, yeah, Andy has a tough training camp, but it's short.
So he had you ready for the season. Was there a training camp that had you beat down before the season even started?
No, I mean, maybe some players, man, like, so to know me, like, my idol growing up was Jerry Rice. And so Jerry Rice was the guy who held his head on staying in condition basically 11 months out of the year. Right after the Super Bowl, he'd take like a 3-week, let his body heal, and then he's back on the bike, back training, while everybody else was trying to take 2-3 months off. He was back working, so he never got out of shape his entire 15, 17-year career. And so idolizing that man as I grew up, I tried to emulate that same thing. So even with the bumps and bruises of the season, the sore ankles, the sore knees, and all that, man, after about 3 weeks of taking off, I just got myself back into shape. And so by the time training camp came, I was always kind of peaking on my performance, peaking on my conditioning. I did play with a few guys that used training camp the first like 6-7 days as a way to get in shape. There's a few linemen, and I'm not going to say their name, but we had a few offensive linemen that would come in, a few donuts thick of overweight and stuff, and so they would use that first 5 days to kind of pair off with a little of that baby fat, a little of that extra steak and potatoes, that all that kind of stuff they was doing. But they was using that, that training camp to get them in shape. And so maybe some of those guys felt it, but man, I look forward to a hard training camp. I look forward to showing that because I use training camp as a way to separate myself from other players. And so being a young guy that came out, I'm a 4th-round pick out of a small school, training camp was a way for me to showcase to the coaches that I was serious about this. This was my career. Like I was passionate about it. And so coming into camp ready, in shape, being able to run all day, go through 2-a-days, stay after, lift weights, then after that go to the jug machine and then run a couple of wind sprints while everybody else is, they get the camp legs. They start walking around a little slow and the legs feeling heavy. If you still get the bounce in your step, man, you show those coaches right off that you was serious. And that was the way I used that every year as a way to separate myself from other guys in the league.
So you came in with a chip on your shoulder, ready to prove, it was you against the world?
Oh, always, man. Like, I mean, listen, University of Richmond, I got stories to tell you, man. I know going into the Senior Bowl, going into the Combine, I was always on that B list. So they invite 300 people to the Combine. I was like 300 and number 11. So I had to wait for like 12 people to decline or say they weren't going to, participate in the Combine for me to get invited to the Combine. So yeah, I had a chip on my shoulder coming out with that. The Senior Bowl, they sent out all their invites. I wasn't in the first round of invites. The only reason I got invited because one of the assistant coaches at Richmond knew somebody at a bigger program, and he knew somebody that was a scout for the Redskins, and he was able to put my name into like alternate category. And if enough pro teams had you in this alternate category, then they would send you a conditional invitation, which means the same thing. There had to be a few guys decline the invite for me to get invited. So I came into both of those situations with a chip on my shoulder, trying to show them that it didn't really matter the Division I, Division II, 1AA, whatever they wanted to call it. And they're trying to use they say the level of competition. Yeah, well, he made plays, but he didn't have to go against the top offensive lineman. He made plays on the ball, but he didn't have to go against the best running backs in the country or the best wide receivers. He didn't have to face the best quarterbacks. Well, if you looked at my film, it was more about being an athlete, making plays, and so it didn't matter who was on the other side. Like I was making plays on the ball. It's the same size ball. The size of the field was the same. Going sideline to sideline, stripping the ball out, making plays, picking up pick sixes and all that. like, I didn't think that any of that mattered when it came to no level of competition. I was out there trying to make plays.
Yeah,
For sure.
and those guys is going to take your head off too. So like the level of violence didn't change just because you're in a smaller school. Like they still trying to do the same thing that you trying to do.
Exactly. And you know what? You find a lot of guys, they talk about the level of competition. Yeah, we don't have the 5-star guys coming out of high school, but a lot of the guys like myself, when you're in your fourth, fifth year playing 1AA, and you got that edge on your shoulder, like you out there knowing you got to show up every game. Like you can't have no bad game. So the pressure on the 1AA guys, like Brian Westbrook coming out of Villanova, Dexter Coakley coming out of App State, John Mobley coming out of Kutztown. I could, a handful of guys each year come out of 1AA programs, and they have the opportunity to make it in this league and have a time to shine. They don't take anything for granted. Like every year of my career, I took it as like I was a rookie. I was going to be the 54th guy. I needed to like get 3 or 4 guys cut in order for me to make a roster spot. Even when I was a starter, my mindset was like, I'm not safe. And so somewhere in this training camp, I'm going to embarrass a running back, a fullback, a tight end. I'm going to embarrass a guard, a lineman who didn't come ready to practice today, right? I'm going to put him on his backside. I'm going to turtle him. I'm going to do something to show like he don't belong here, because the more guys I show don't belong here made that last seat at the table available for me to make the team. And that's the mentality I had every year, all 10 years. Like I'm gonna show that somebody don't supposed to be here because I'm supposed to be here. So I don't know if guys got that mentality no more, man. It's a lot of like buddy, chummy, like everybody on the team want to be there, and it's a lot of like that kind of stuff going on. It's 90 guys going to camp, but only 53 guys make the active roster. I know they've extended the practice squad to I think 10 people, so that's still 63. There's 27 guys going to camp that ain't gonna have I ain't one of the 27. Nope, not today, not this year. I took that mentality every year.
I like that.
So this leads me to that question. This leads me to this question. Since you brought that up, Shawn. So what do you think about the NFL? I want to say with the recent Senior Bowl collaborating with the HBCUs to bring out a bowl game for future NFL processes coming out of HBCUs.
Man, I mean, personally, I just think the opportunities need to be more like just diverse. Obviously, everybody knows that Alabama's gonna have 20 guys drafted a year, right? Like the whole starting defense gonna go, the whole starting offense gonna go, and so why are the guys from Alabama taking up combine spots? Like you already know those guys, and you're gonna like them. Like the combine to me should be. Man, the majority of guys at the combine should be the guys coming from 1AA, Division II, smaller programs, because they got something to prove. They got something that you ain't gonna see on the 10 games. Alabama's playing in the SEC, and then they go through the national championship run versus Clemson and all these other. Like, if you don't know that guy can play football, and you need to bring him to Indianapolis over the weekend to prove, to me, that's wasting the bunch. Like have them come in, have them do interviews. But as far as the guys actually on the field showcasing their skills and abilities and all that, man, the majority of those things need to be the guys you're looking at as like second, third, fourth, late round picks, because those are the guys that you really have a problem differentiating yourself from. But man, ain't nobody gonna ever ask me, and I think part of that whole combine thing is more of a money grab anyway. They want to use it to market, the next stars of the NFL, whatever, get certain names out there and stuff. So maybe from a money standpoint, they can promote or ask for more money if it's the Alabama starting, crew and the Clemson's guys and the guys from these big programs. But so I like the fact that the bowl game is going to be used for the HBCs, and hopefully they try to find some other venues, so it's not just one bowl game. I mean, I think last time I heard it was almost 100 bowl games at the end of the year. I think they probably could maybe pick 10 of them for the HBCUs or something like that, or 15 of them or something like that. Like, let's showcase these guys, give them opportunity, put them on the same playing field, man. I bet those guys would show up and show out if given the opportunity.
I'm with you on that because, like, there have been many great NFL players throughout the NFL history have come from HBCUs. Like, you know, you mentioned Jerry Rice, you got Steve McNair, Doug Williams, Antoine Bethea, Michael Strahan. I mean, there's many NFL players that have had great careers in the NFL, and they just got that opportunity. And, like, it's just I just feel like, you know, the HBCU Bowl now is definitely giving them more opportunities because some people just forget, like, there have been many great players that have played in the NFL that have come from these schools. So I'm pretty much with
Yeah.
it. So,
And also, I wanted to say, like, you get a guy like Trevor Lawrence, he's not going to throw at the combine. Why we can't get that spot to somebody else? You can just come in and measure him and weigh him and all that stuff and get his medicals. But why can't I invite another quarterback from a smaller school or somebody that doesn't have that spotlight on them and invite them to throw? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, it's a lot of people that's going, they not participating in all the drills, they get hurt, they're not trying to hurt themselves, they're not even playing in bowl games anymore. Like so yeah, get that spotlight to somebody else, man. They need it. You never know. You could be a superstar in the making that nobody looked at because he didn't go to the right school.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I went to the University of Richmond, so I didn't go to HBCU, but I realized I know things have changed a lot since I had a chance to, you know, come out as a senior and get wooed by, you know, some of the different schools. But to me, it came down to, it was just purely the football facilities and the resources. And so going to Richmond, man, it was a beautiful stadium. We talked about the locker rooms look great, this and that. And then the schools I went to try to go, you know, the Virginia States and the Hamptons of the world and the Howards. When I went there, it was just the equipment wasn't up to the same level. And so if I'm saying, I'm gonna be here for 4 or 5 seasons, playing and be a part of this team, be a part of this organization. Man, I want the best of the best. You know, I want to be putting on the flyest gear and have access to all the new stuff. And it looked like they, you know, refurbishing helmets every year and all that. And other schools they got 3-4 sets of helmets and stuff like that. So as an athlete, that was my mindset coming out. But I know that the playing field has got a lot more closer. You know, I'm looking at the Deion Sanders at, you know, Jacksonville State. I'm looking at the different programs, man. These HBCUs, their playing facilities, all turf fields, beautiful stadiums. Everybody's having the Under Armour, the Nike, and Adidas uniforms. And so, I mean, everything now is kind of on the same playing field, and I think that's why you're getting a lot more 4- and 5-star kids that are saying, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and go to this HBCU. You know, all it takes is a handful, man. You take a handful of guys from the same area. You really want to make the HBCU in their area stand out. The Alabama States of the world or whatever, they can do it, man. It only takes a handful of guys to really change the program around. So I take my hats off to all the guys that go out there and support historic black universities and colleges. Yeah, Deion's doing good, man. He's bringing a lot of money, a lot of attention down to that area, Jackson State. Like, all the people I know from Jackson is happy for him. So I think isn't Eddie George a coach at Tennessee State or something like that? Middle something.
Yeah. I think
he did. I saw Eddie George took a job. And then there was another cat that just took a job today. I saw it on Twitter, but running back. I can't remember his name, but just got hired someplace. Yeah,
that's dope.
I saw it in the feed earlier.
Hey,
so you go ahead, bud.
Hey, Shawn, what made you sign with the Chiefs?
So when I came out, man, I went to the University of Richmond. I went to the Redskins. I played 3 seasons for the Redskins. Man, I tore my knee up. Right, I had an ACL tear, and the Redskins. When I was hurt, it's like, I mean, it's business is business. So a team will tell you their guy, you are our future, and then the second you get hurt, they're gonna try to get you on the cheap. So they wanted to sign me to like a 5-year deal, but they was gonna use my injury to like try to get me at like a smaller salary. But they knew they wanted me to be their will linebacker, and they knew that, you know, I'm gonna come back from the injury, but they just wanted to try to get me locked in. So I went ahead and played a 1-year deal, went to Philly. At the time, you know, this Jim Johnson defense was ultra aggressive, it was Brian Dawkins, just play Troy Richards, Troy Vincent, Al Harris. Man, we had Javon Curse. Man, we just had. I mean, it was a freakishly aggressive defense. And coming back off of a knee surgery, I figured that was be the best way to show that I'm back. I got my athleticism and all that back. So, boom, I go play for Philly for 1 year. And when I was there, that last game in the playoffs, I twisted my ankle, had a high ankle sprain. And so they wanted to re-sign me back. The same thing, like, hey, we don't value the linebacker position. We're about pass rushers and corners, but we would love to have you back at this set, price. So at that time, I think Marshall Faulk was tearing up the league, right? Marshall Faulk was a running back coming out the backfield. All those standard 240 linebackers couldn't stay with him. So they were saying, Barber, you need to come out and come to Kansas City. We envision you being like the next Derrick Brooks, a smaller linebacker. We can play too deep, have you run the center. We can put you man on man with the Marshall Faulks, the Edgerrin James of the world. Because those are the two cats that they was ripping everybody a new one. You know what I'm saying? Coming out the backfield, just always a mismatch. So I came out here to Kansas City, man, and Coach Vermeil, Greg Robinson was, I think, the defensive coordinator at the time. But it was mostly Coach Vermeil, man. I got out of here, and Trent Green was the quarterback. And I played with Trent in Washington. And so Trent was a big, he had a lot to do with me coming out here, vouching for my athleticism, because he saw me every day in practice and everything, my work ethic and everything like that. So he thought I'd be really valuable coming to this program. And then once I got out here, man, and like you said, man, Coach Vermeil, like he runs the program the right way. It's all family, faith orientated. It was easy to eliminate a lot of the distractions when you're out here in Kansas City, because it's not like the coast. You don't get the big media markets like Pavarotti, whatever you want to call it, like vultures of fans, and you can go to the store and be left alone. You can go to a restaurant and be left alone. And at the time, I had one kid at the time, so we looked at this area, got me a house, man. I really enjoyed the Blue Valley School District and everything. And so I started thinking like family, like beyond football, where do I want to, raise my family, my kids and stuff. And, right in the middle of the U.S., man, like it just seemed like, I don't know if y'all remember, people were talking about fault lines in Florida, California, falling off into the ocean. And, it was like wherever you was at on the coast, like it was like the scientists are saying that those coastal areas might be falling off on the fault line. One big earthquake. And all that real estate gonna go. So I said, man, I'm gonna stay right in the middle of everything. I figured if anybody attacked the USA, they'll be aiming for the coast first, and so we'd be safe in the US. So I was thinking about all that kind of stuff, man. And so me and my wife got married, started raising. So I got 5 boys and a girl now. And so once I got to Kansas, like I said, it was more of football mentality first. But it was such a blessing once I got here and got to meet the team. Like I said, Coach Vermeil is an amazing coach. He definitely sets an environment for people to learn. Man, we still, one thing I'm kicking myself once a year when the football season starts off. I always have to pinch myself because I still can't believe we didn't win the championship in 2003. I clearly think we was the best team in the league that year, man. We ran into the Peyton Manning buzzsaw. He did it to a lot of people. It just, I don't know, man. I kind of. Every time I hear his voice, man, I get a little something about me want to choke that joke out a little bit. Overall stuff and all that changing the plays, man. I always felt like defensively he kind of had you like with one arm behind your back, because he would always kind of figure out the coverage and then change the play. And you look into the sideline and like, come on, coach, let us change the defense one time. And they say, no, just stick with it. And I'm like, he already got it figured out. Like he already know where he can go. Like we sitting ducks out here. And so that's not a good feeling, defensively, when you feel like the offense is checking into plays, they're going to take advantage of your weakness and you can't do nothing about it, man. That's it's very disheartening. But again, we had a great season that year, man, going 13-3. We lost obviously lost to Peyton Manning. I don't say we lost to the Colts because I don't think the Colts beat us. I think Peyton Manning beat us. Also a single person. There was 53 on one in the 1-1.
He was a beast.
So
man.
I'm glad you talking about that game, because I was going to ask you a question about
you echoing, Chuck.
I am.
You gotta look at Mean Echo, bro.
All right, hold on. What
Yeah. So all those losses to the Colts. So how happy were you when Pat led us to victory over? Was that Pat that led us to victory over Indianapolis finally? That was like the first playoff win, right?
Was it? Oh, was it there or was it Houston? I can't remember.
Well, that was Alex. I'm talking about Pat's first victory was over Indianapolis, right? In the
Because we
snow
was
game,
on a
right?
losing streak to the Colts in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh, was that it?
The Colts got us a few times, man.
Yeah, they did. That comeback against Andy, that being up like 44-27, and that whole.
Don't bring it up.
Up by 20.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Man, fumbling the ball, the quarter, and then picking it up and running. Like it's many memories we got against the Colts that shoulda, coulda, woulda type stuff. I mean, again, man, when you're playing in the NFL, man, it's like it's all a blessing, man. It's all like you're on the highest stage of a game that you've been playing since you've been young, and I mean, it ain't no way to add it up. I don't care how they say it. I mean, like it's just one given day, a game plan, a philosophy. You got to be able to make adjustments. You got to be able to, tackle in space. You got to be able to, sometimes overcome your coaching. I know that don't sound right to everybody, but a lot of times on the NFL level, there are players overcoming their coach, and their coach will do one thing, and then in that moment, on that snap, you got to make a split decision whether you're going to listen to your coaching and be defeated, or you're going to go with your instincts, ball out, do something extraordinary, and make a play and might win the game for your team. And not every player got that type of the fear of flight. Like some guys just freeze up and they just go with their coaching, and they just and then you got some guys. Luckily, I play with a lot of the Champ Baileys of the world, the Tony Gonzalez's of the world, the Priest Holmes of the world, the Willie Roafs, the Daryl Greens of the world, Brian Dawkins. I had a chance to play with a lot of really unique players that I know at any given moment, no matter what we were coached to do, given the opportunity to make a big game-changing play, those players always rose up to the moment and made those plays. And I guess I played against a lot of those guys too. I played against a lot of great guys too. But those are some of the guys that I've been on the field with who it almost made me feel in awe to get in the huddle and listen to that same voice, that Brian Dawkins, that Daryl Green, even Marco Coleman, Kennard Lang, Indy Kalu. Some guys are well known, some guys aren't as well known, but man, Jeremiah Trotter, the Axeman.
Yeah.
I feel so blessed as to play with so many. The Jason Dunns of the world, he backed up Tony for a number of years, but man, yeah. Jason Dunn, when he get his hands on you, you ain't going that sucker he was solid, man. He was legit. So I played with, a handful of guys, man, that just was really special athletes on the football field. And some of the guys that, man, just life has maybe didn't give them the best hand to deal with. Like we talk about, Eric Warfield, right? Eric Warfield to me was one of the greatest athletes, but he never got the respect from the league because outside of the football field, it was always so much chaos, going on at his house and with the legal battles and DUIs. And so it was all these other things. And also with Larry Johnson, right? With the gun charges and cleaning the gun around the all this stuff that's not even football. If they could just get all that stuff out of their system and they could just focus on the game of football, man, they had so much innate ability. Like Larry Johnson was just like, man, he could have been like the Bo Jackson of our era, but it was just so much other stuff that he was just taking who cares if Coach Vermeil said he wear a diaper? Like that ain't like Joe. You don't wear no damn diaper. Why you letting that man? That's grown. Why you letting that man bother you, man? Like leave all that stuff, But they just couldn't, man. Like those man. Some people got these little cracks and crevices in their personality, and it just certain things just eat at them, and they just can't let them go. And it affects your focus on the field, your preparation for the next game. It affects how organizations look at you. Like, can you handle the stress of being successful or being paid as a top running back or a top wide receiver, a top defensive back? And then they use all those things, as far as contract negotiations to kind of hold you back and underpay you, and then you feel underappreciated. So, man, that chess game that Brett Beach is playing with the salary cap and guys' contracts, man, I don't wish that on nobody. That's a tough job, man. I don't care. I mean, people think that maybe, because he's Andy's and he's handpicked and everything, that he got one of the easiest jobs because he's been blessed with this abundance of talent. Man, he didn't walk into this. He was one of the advocates for Pat Mahomes. He was one of the advocates for bringing Matthew in, for getting Chris Jones, for getting, some of these Tyreek Hill and some of these guys and stuff, man. So I think he's done a hell of a job, man. I don't think he ever, obviously because the team is successful, he gets credit. But none of those guys get as much credit as they really deserve for the amount of film and research they do on all these guys to know who's a great fit, who's going to be a good fit, who's going to help us win now, who's going to maybe need to be let go and let them grow someplace else. And those decisions are made every day, man, and personnel is talked about between the coaches and between the scouting department, the personnel staff. Coach Andy Reid does an amazing job, and this is what I think he does better than anybody. You talked about that vision board I got over here. He sets a vision for each year, each team, and he walks through it about every single position on the field. He doesn't take any position for granted. Every personnel at the end of every meeting of every day, the coaches get together and talk personnel. You would think that if there's one position you can skip, it would be the quarterback, right? That's our guy. He's going to be our guy 15 years. Whether he has a great day of practice or a bad day of practice, he's still going to be our guy. So it's almost like wasted air talking about Pat. But by not skipping over that, it puts an accountability on every coach to realize we are going to talk about every single player on our roster every day. So you better be paying attention. And as a coach, you better be trying to coach them to be better each and every day, because when a guy fails on the field, if you know he got the ability, then that to me is a reflection of the coaches. It's not a reflection of that player, because you know he got the ability. So if he fails at certain technique or certain responsibility, he's not getting the line right, he doesn't know his assignment, that's a coaching failure. And Coach Andy Reid, he holds his coaches accountable. So that visionary aspect of it is something that he does. He's very special at that. And I think that's why he's been so successful at both here and in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Man, you touched on a lot of points. I was going to ask you quickly, though. How many times has Dick Vermeil cried in front of you?
Oh, every day of my life. Every day. This is not no lie. Like every speech, conversation, every time he addressed the team on a daily basis, there was something that brought him to tears, whether it was celebrating a guy's anniversary or the birth of a kid, or it was celebrating a milestone a certain player had, 1,000-yard rushings or 300-yard passing game. It would bring on a daily basis. It would bring him to tears. And it's like everything else. When something happens that much, it doesn't. After about week 3 of getting here, I realized, is this sucker gonna cry every day? And Trent and those guys, yes, man, just get used to it. It's just part. It's you eat every day, you poop every day, you breathe. I mean, it's just something he does. It's part of his everyday experience. And but you knew it was coming from a place of love. And sometimes it came from being mad. He would get so upset with the offensive shifts and motions. The tears wasn't always a tears out of passion and joy. Sometimes he got so upset with the offense that he cried because they were like, man, y'all, I can't believe y'all can't get this right. We've been doing this for how many weeks? And some of that stuff would be because he knew that the end game was we're gonna have to get somebody else in here that can do your job because you can't do it. And that made him cry to realize he had to give up on the player. Like a Willie Jones or Snacks or something. I mean, we had a couple guys that was always hanging on the roster, like the 53rd person. And when they had a bad practice, it made the scout department realize, hey, the guy don't have it no more, coach. We got to let him go. And he would go over that film and watch that guy and, you're killing me, Jones. You're killing me. You're killing me, man. You got to seal that block. You got to make that block. You got to make that read. And man, I mean, young players, he just wanted them. He wanted everybody to work out. He wanted everybody to have a place here. And so anytime he had a chance to talk about the team, and I had a chance to have dinner. He came to town about 3 weeks ago. He comes to town once every offseason. He comes into town for a weekend, and he takes all the old coaches, any coach that been coaching for him here in Kansas City, any medical doctor, any ancillaries. If you worked for the Chiefs during his time here, he'll come. He'll take you down to Capitol Grill, takes you and your wife out for a dinner, and then all the players that played for him, he'll set up. So this year we did Garozos, and so he takes you and your wife out to Garozos and feature the dinner, so we can kind of get the old squad back together. And that's something he don't need to do that, but I mean that's just kind of saying like he's just a special guy.
Yeah, that's dope. So did it ever hit you like, he got me on that one?
No. I mean, it's like, listen, I got kids, right? And my kids on command can bust some tears out when they want something. Like I ain't falling for those fake tears, man. Like those tears ain't like, man, get out of here. Like you do what I told you to do. Like so for me, like when he started choked up a little bit, most of the team we just gonna look around like, man, coach. I mean, like nobody. Yeah, man. After about the third or fourth day, you want to know. Like you look to the veteran and say, "Hey, man, does he do this every day?" And he'd be like, "Yes." Don't even just let him get through it. He'll choke up a couple times, and then 30 seconds later, he's back to coach. He's back. You know, he just had to get it out of the system. So
that's crazy. Another guy I wanted to ask you about is you work with Mitch Holthus. Now, I met Mitch before. He's one of the coolest, nicest dudes. He's one of the coolest dudes I ever met. Is he like that all the time, or it's not a front? It can't be a front. He's too genuine with it.
Man, he is so authentic when it comes to his knowledge of the team historically, his love and his faith for the Lord. Like I've had him join me on some church Zooms, and we talked to a group of men about different things. He's been able to, like, he'll talk about a certain subject, and also he's like, yes, in Galatians 5:22, it talks about the fruits of the Spirit. And those are things in life you want to keep and be around. You want those things to produce a great, bountiful. You know, so his love for the Lord is his love for this organization. His love about football. As you know, he knows every mascot of all 1,000 high schools and universities in the state in the USA. You can name any college, and he'll tell you the mascot in 3 seconds. And then also his love for his hometown. I had a chance to travel back to Center City. His dad is still the oversees historical venue back there called Home on the Range. And he does a fundraiser every year. This Home on the Range fundraiser. And we go and raise money, pickleball tournament, and they raise money for this historical venue we kept open. So besides what we do with Defending the Kingdom, and I know everybody who listens to Defending the Kingdom, you can always, there's a little dab of faith going into every time we do a show. We try to find a way to infiltrate your mind with a little bit of. We talk about the kingdom. We talk about our one and only, our Father. We always try to give you a little bit of what kingdom really rules are, really a part of. So we try to find a way to intertwine that with what's going on with the football team, what's going on throughout the NFL. Yeah, he is genuine, man. He's a wealth of knowledge. But he loves these players, man, and he shows it as you can tell on the air when he's talking about the team.
Yeah, I want to ask you real quick about training camp. Just get back to training camp a bit. Is there any difference with Andy Reid's training camp practices, or has it just been the same since you played for Andy Reid?
So obviously, like I said, mine was different because we didn't have all the rules. So not having all those rules was vicious. I mean, it was we would battle like no other. As I go and watch the practices now, there's so many limitations and restraints the NFL puts on players. The amount of periods you can have contact, the amount of times you can go full. the tempo of one-on-one, the tempo even in the offseason, for the OTAs and the mini camps. So everything in the NFL is so regulated. There's almost no way for players to separate themselves from the preparation, conditioning level. You can't do it anymore. So when you talk about alignment assignment, understanding what you're supposed to do, there's got to be an added value, an added emphasis on having like really smart heads of players, because you're not going to be able to tell what's going to happen to that player when the lights cut on. So, there is no ability anymore in the offseason to be able to know what a player can do. Full go, because you can't go full. And so a lot of try some different ways to evaluate talent. And so I gotta say, if there's been any dial back or softening of his practice, it has to be because the NFL as a whole has put in some restrictions that he got to go by the rules. I know when it's time to go, that special cat period is still full go. I know when he says special cat, all buttons get buckled up, you tighten up everything, a little bit extra air in your helmet, and you get ready to bring it for that special cat period.
Yeah. Hey, Shawn, you a little choppy.
Say again, brother.
Is his a little choppy, or is that mine? Can you hear the echo?
I don't know.
I had an echo on yours, bud.
Okay. All right. Now we got this situated. My next question to you is, what's the one thing you most looking forward to this year's training camp, like as far as like competition, position wise, just anything in regards to this year's training camp?
Say again for me.
Now, say, what's the one thing that you most look forward to this year's training camp, whether it's like position battles or just anything in general?
I guess it's always the position battles. Honestly, look at that linebacker position. The linebacker position is something that's going to be it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Like, I mean, we put ourselves in a situation now where, I mean, the most talented guys are young too. The guy from Missouri, Bolton, and Willie Gay are pretty much our two most talented linebackers. It's tough having those two guys be your, I guess your most talented guys because they're so young. And when you got a guy like Hitchens, I mean, he has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. But as everybody knows, when you're a linebacker, after your fourth or fifth year, it just gets your body, man. The wear and tear of a linebacker, it's just a short window. And so now, Hitchens is going to have to rely on instincts more. He ain't going to be able to run and gun and take people's head off like he could when he was in his fourth and fifth year. I'm a little bit disappointed. I mean, the Dorian O'Daniels of the world, like I expected more of him. Ben Neiman, I want to see more growth from him, given so much opportunity to play. That's the position, just personally, that like eats at me, because when I watch the game, I'm watching through the eyes of a linebacker, and so if I see a misread or if I see a missed tackle, or if I see somebody in space, somebody cut to the wrong place, or you're supposed to be a rat, you're supposed to cut somebody and turn to number 3 instead of 2 weak. I played under Spags, so the defense is very, very similar to what I played in Philly. So I know a lot of the keys and what people are supposed to do. So that's the one position it eats me up. It eats me up to see mental mistakes being made at the linebacker position. So I'm obviously going into training camp looking at that position first. It might be country.
Hold on, Shawn. I hate to interrupt you. Now, we have this ongoing rivalry. We, not us. Chuck has an ongoing rivalry with Ben Neiman. Can you give me 2 positive aspects of Ben Neiman, just to ease his fears? just to calm them down just a little bit. It don't have to be a lot. It can be short and sweet, but 2 positives for Ben Neiman.
All right, he's going into his fourth.
Shawn. We need this.
He's going into his 4th season, and the one thing I can tell you this: I did not. Hey, country, see if you mute yours. I think that's what I'm getting on feedback. All right, yeah. All right, so for me as a linebacker, I felt like going into my 4th season was the year that it all came together for me. So my first year, I just played special teams, just like Ben Neiman did. I was a special team monster. They gave me the opportunity to play. I went down as a 3rd down linebacker. So I just studied all the 3rd down defenses, just like Ben Neiman, his 2nd year. Going into the 3rd year, I started studying the 1st and 2nd downs. I was given an opportunity to be a will linebacker. And so I just carried over that playmaking attitude into everything I did. But it wasn't until I got to Philadelphia and Coach Spags had a chance to sit me down and really make me understand the philosophical reasons we were doing certain things on defense. And then I became almost a coach on the field in my 4th year. Or that would end up being my 5th year because I stayed the 4th year in Washington. So being around a coach that really was invested in me and could make me understand football on a high level, bring my football IQ up, it made me such a more effective football player. And so I see Ben Neiman, this is going to be his, his 3rd year under Coach Spags. And being able to be in that tutelage stage where he's going to have somebody speaking to him in a mentorship hey, you need to understand football. It's not just about X's and O's, do what I say. I want you to understand the philosophy behind why we're doing certain things, why you have to do these things. The why matters. To true football coaches, the why matters. The Gunther Cunninghams of the world and maybe some of the Greg Robinsons of the world, they were just just do it because I said to do it. If it don't make sense to you, then we'll worry about it later. But just do what we say do. And as an athlete, you can only do so much full speed unless you know the why. Spagnuolo is tremendous. He is so. When I say he is one of the best coordinators as far as understanding and being able to explain philosophically what everybody is doing and holding everybody accountable. So some guys can talk the talk, but then they can't hold people accountable. Some coaches can't even talk the talk. They can't explain it to you. They feel like I had a coach when I was in Houston. I ain't gonna name his name, but it was a coordinator. When I asked him who has the cutback and then who has bootleg, he told me to stop asking questions during the meeting, to let him explain it. I'm like, well, I gotta go out there and play it. So if you don't want, if I got questions in my mind and you don't want to answer them, ain't that we already lost? That doesn't even make sense to me. And so it was it was a tough situation with that year in the Texans. But I realized there are a handful of coaches that just want to be right. They wanted the respect from the organization. They were actually coaching because they wanted the head coach to see them coaching. They were correcting because they wanted the head coach to see him correcting because they knew that if the head coach had to get another job, they wanted to look good in front of that guy. Or they wanted other coaches to respect them. It wasn't about really passing on knowledge to the players in hopes that we became better. And so there's always this mixture of certain coaches that are just really good, rah-rah. They look great. They look like they can coach, but they really ain't teaching nobody nothing. And then you have these, the Dungies of the world, the Spagnolas of the world, the Jim Reeds of the world. There's a handful of coaches that are just truly like teachers at heart, and they don't need none of the extra accolades. They got their respect. They just want to make sure that their ball players are becoming educated and are using that knowledge to make them better ball players. And so I think we got a handful of those, man. Coach Merritt, Coach Merritt is a baller. He's a motivator, but he knows the defense to such a nth degree that if our DBs can just hang around him and be around him long enough, we'll have 4 guys in that secondary that are coaches on the field. And you've already seen what happens with Honey Badger, right? He's already taken that role as a coach on the field. We just need Thornhill and Sorensen and Sneed and Travarius. We need for him, all those guys just absorb what Coach House is telling them, man. Coach Merritt is telling them, to as much as they can, because that's what defense is about, man. It's guys playing together, playing as a unit. You don't have those individual standouts that you do on offense. On offense, man. Listen, 9 guys can do the wrong thing. As long as Cheetah and Pat is on the same page, you'll end up with a touchdown. Everybody else can do everything completely wrong, but sometimes you just can't guard Cheetah, and sometimes Pat's arm is just he's dropping dimes in places you can't guard. Those 3 guys, man, Cheetah, Travis Kelce, and Pat Mahomes. I mean, the 8 other guys could all, have no clue what they're doing, and you would still find yourself in a ball game at the end of the game based off of just those 3 guys. I don't know any other organization that's had 3 guys that are able to play on that kind of level as consistent as they've done over the last 2 seasons to win us a Super Bowl and then go back to the Super Bowl. And then even Pat's first year, they were playing on an outstanding level when we lost to New England in overtime. So going into a 4th season of that type of consistency, man, it's scary. It's scary for any defense.
Absolutely. You're right about that, man. But yeah, about Ben Beneven, man. I guess I'll cut on some slack based on what you said, man. But he better come with it at the beginning of the season, man, because this is a critical year for him. So,
and again, it's not like they ain't giving him no free pass. Bringing in Bolton, man, like that sucker's gonna hunt. That dog gonna hunt right there. So, if anything, if any type of spark you needed in your backside to get yourself going, get you motivated, when they draft a guy like that can make plays, he ain't coming in to make plays on first. He coming in to be a difference maker. He's coming here to, he's gonna push some people out the door. And so if you don't want your seat taken, you better be ready to turn it up. And like I said, in season 4, that's kind of when the general managers and the scouts, if you've peaked or plateaued, or they feel like you can't grow, you can't get any better, then they're gonna continue to bring guys in who they feel like can actually get better. And so they've done, 2 years in a row bringing high drafted linebackers in. They have like high ceilings. We know Willie Gay. You can say what you want to, man. He has Pro Bowl ability, and we know that if he doesn't get hurt, man, he can make plays. He's a playmaker waiting to happen. So he got to get once he get on the field, learn the defense and stuff like that. He's a difference maker. And then we know we've seen highlights from Bolton in Missouri. That sucker, he stopped you in your tracks like that. We talked about that 45 caliber. He's just like that. Ain't no mistaking. Yeah, he don't make too many mistakes, man. When he hits you, you stop. So you like those type of linebackers.
Absolutely. So, Bug, it sounds like you got something else, man.
Well, yeah, you said that about Bolton. So you think he has Pro Bowl potential too?
I think he can grow into it. Let me say that. I was gonna be honest. I think he can grow into it. Man, like again, I'm a kid that came out of the University of Richmond. Obviously, people looked at me. I was a 6'2". I ran a 4.4 in the combine, so I was fast. But as far, everybody, I was 220, right? I was 225, soaking wet. I had to put weights in my pocket to make sure I made the weight. For my coach told me if I didn't weigh in at least 225 every week, he wasn't gonna play me. So I take 2.5. I put it in my pocket, put my hands in the pocket, because I knew I wasn't gonna get to 225 unless I had some extra weight in my pockets. So I did that on the weigh-in days in order to make sure I could play. So listen, I know that sometimes it ain't where you start at is and that led to a 10-year career. So I don't know what that young man can be. I know he understands football as far as, you can't teach some things. And I played with a guy, and this is a guy y'all might not know. It's a guy who played linebacker with me at Richmond. His name is Paris Linden. Paris Linden played a number of years with the Broncos. He played with the Detroit Lions. He was one of the most heavy-footed thumpers that I've ever seen. And when somebody can play with that type of viciousness, it ain't you just as a defensive coach, you can't teach a guy to hit like that. I can teach him how to be a more fluid pass defender, I can work on the jugs machine on when he has the opportunity to get his hands on the balls to make plays that way. But his ability to put a guy lights out to hit something moving, and he's a sure tackler. Those type of things, man, is very hard to teach guys. So I kind of see him demanding a role in some. He's gonna get on the field. He's gonna, because of his potential, he's gonna find a way to get on the field. It's the how ready is he to take care of all the stuff off the field, eliminate the distractions. He's from Missouri. All of his fans, his family, they right here. So I know what that's like. I played at University of Richmond and went to the Redskins. I was only 90 minutes away, if that. They was up there. The whole college seemed like they was up at Washington every weekend. All from training camp to the end of the year. Every weekend we had a club called Dream, a club called Live. It seemed like the whole University of Richmond was in that junk every weekend. And I had 5 and 6 tabs going every Saturday night at all these clubs and whatever. It was, again, if you can find a way to eliminate all the distractions and let him just develop himself as a football player and play the game, man, that joke is his horizon could be phenomenal, man. Those are things we just don't know, right? How ready is he for to play football with such a successful team? A team that's going to be a playoff caliber, Super Bowl caliber team for the next, basically 10 decade or so. That's just a lot to ask from a young man who's playing in his backyard. So,
yeah, and like Steve Spagnuolo, I remember him saying earlier, like I think about a few weeks ago, he was saying that it might take both of the men to learn the scheme and all that. And I was like, well, he went down this road with Willie Gay, even though it's different circumstances. So I just feel like, with actual training camp and OTAs and stuff this time, I don't know. He might pick it up a little quicker than what Willie Gay did. So I guess we'll have to see.
And exactly. You know what? And that's the thing. On the media, I know that everybody was giving Willie Gay a bunch of it's week 6. It's week when we gonna see him play, and they didn't even put into account the fact that he didn't have no preseason. Right? He had a COVID preseason. You can't learn football off of those Zoom meetings. I don't care. You gotta have bodies, and you gotta see how guys are gonna react to certain things. The only thing the teachers got to play football is football. And that was back when I played. That's gonna be 10 years, 100 years from now. If you want to get good at playing football, you got to go practice football. You got to put your pads on. You got to hit. You got to shock people. You got to get off tackles. You got to wrap up guys. That's the only way to get good at football is to actually play it, right? At a 80-90% tempo. That's the only way. You don't get good at football by watching film and watching Zooms and having meetings and talking about what it could have. Nah, man, you got to get out there and do it. And so that's one thing we got to say from Willie Gay's standpoint. He's going to have a true off season. Bolton's going to have a true off season. Again, they got some great coaches coaching them. The new coach they brought into town, Ken Flagel, he was actually he coached me for 1 year at Richmond. He's been a great. He coached a bunch of really good linebackers, I think, at the Eagles when he was there. Jordan Hicks, one of them, and the other guy is the guy who had the brother. I can't remember his name. His brother played for Minnesota. But both of those guys ended up being really good ball players, and so I know he's going to teach that linebacker position the way it's supposed to be teach. It's very, again, it's detailed. Coach Spags' defense is detailed. But again, it's the why. Once you can get away from the verbiage and you understand the why, everything kind of fits into a certain cubby and it's easy to access, in your brain, the different compartments and file things away, put defense in different areas. And then you just got to know what you're supposed to do as a linebacker in all those different areas, all these different responsibilities. And then after that, you just got to react and go play ball. He's really good at finding a way to put all that together and being able to explain it to a guy. Like I said, that's just what he does. He does a really good job of it. So players can't hide behind they can't in this team. Players can't hide behind the coach. Some teams I know they ain't getting coached right. There are certain teams that just the coaches they don't coach. They aren't good coaches. They just rely on your athleticism to overcome it. Here in Kansas City, when you come to Kansas City, you'll see players that are always, in my mind, I see them outperforming their actual skill set. And one player we can talk about is even with passing up, right? Under Bob Sutton, he couldn't touch the field. Spagnuolo comes in, he gives them some whys. This is what your body can do. This is your skill set. So this is why I'm putting you in here to do these things. And once he was able to, it became like an aha moment. Oh, okay, and he flourished. Passano flourished in our defense here with Coach Spags because he was given the why behind, to kind of put together with his ability, and that allowed him to be a functional football player. So we got guys here that we can put pieces together and make some things, but you should see most of the guys in our team will be ascending while they're here, and then they might go some places via free agent and stuff, and then you're like, man, that player, like he ain't playing the way he did at Kansas City. Well, the coaching gets different, man. The philosophies get different. Some guys don't adjust well, so I think you'll see that more times than not. The guys that leave here and go other places probably are not leaving because they're going to be more successful. It's probably to get a higher paycheck, something like that. But on the field, it's hard to think of a guy on the field who has really got better as a football player because he left Kansas City.
For sure.
So we got you, country. You got to come off mute, country.
My son is driving me crazy. I'm just listening, man. You made some very good points. I'm curious to see how the linebackers react with the wide instead of just going out there and smashing heads. I like that.
Well, I know we do a lot of things. I know this defense is always predicated on playmakers, but it's all. I mean, listen, it is what it is. This is a quarterback-driven league, and to win in football, you have to have disciplined DBs, and by discipline, they don't have to have the greatest. That's why you don't see us going out year after year trying to get the Gilmores, the Jalen Ramseys, the guys that you feel like these top end corners that can lock. Like, to really play great defensive football, you can't have just one really great corner and have other guys not be. You need guys that are disciplined in their technique. And when the technique tells you to stay inside leverage, you stay inside leverage because the safeties are going to knock out everything on the outside. They're looking for a ball to be thrown outside because they're coming downhill outside in. But when as a cornerback, you allow your technique to get broken down, and then you're supposed to stay inside, but for some reason you jump outside. Well, then that end break is nobody there because everybody voided it because the technique was for you to stay inside. So from a cornerback standpoint, we need discipline. So we need disciplined ball players, guys that have the mirror capability of not allowing their technique to be broken down by a offensive weapon. The linebacker positions need to be a cerebral. You got to understand. You got to make the calls. You got to make the adjustments on the sets and the formations, the backfield sets. You got to be able to do different stunts with the D-line, the guys in front of you to cover up certain gaps you can't get to because of sometimes the offensive formation puts you out of the core. And so you have a run responsibility that you got to account for. So if I got the B gap and then number 2 takes me out, well, I got to make sure that defensive tackle or defensive end get into that A and B gap so now I can take the C gap. So that type of adjustment and understanding about how we're all involved in the run game, and when you're disengaged or when you have to move out, you got certain calls you got to make sure that those guys cover up for you. So when you understand that, that's the cerebral game of how we're gonna stop the run together. But then that puts an onus, that puts an extra amount of accountability for you to learn your calls, your checks, and everything as a linebacker. And then you also got to know when certain motions and shifts happen to change the pass strengths. Well, certain coverages go from Rolex to Vegas. We go from white to orange. We go from 6 to 5. But then when they go back in motion, 6 goes 5 on shifts. But then when we go in motion, it don't go back to 6. Well, it's no way on a football field you're going to be able to hear the safety saying that. So you got to know it. So the linebacker is that true jack of all trades. You got to know how to be a part of the front seven, but then you also got to be a part of the back five. You know, like you're a part of the passing, but you're also an integral part of stopping that run. And so that's what you got to do: stop the run, get to the quarterback, and then be able to make game-winning plays. That's what great defense is about: stopping the run. Whatever you got to do, stop the run, get to the quarterback. Right? Sometimes I got to give you the flat in order to get to the quarterback. Sometimes I got to give up an area or zone just to get to the quarterback. I got to overload a rush. I got to bring 3 guys in the A gap. Whatever I got to do to get to that quarterback. This is a quarterback-driven league. We found out in the Super Bowl, if you don't get to the quarterback, it's hard to win. And we found out the other side of it too, right? When somebody gets getting to your quarterback, it's hard to win also. So you got to get to the quarterback, and then when that ball is in the air and you got an opportunity to make plays, Juan Thornhill, L'Jarius Sneed, Matthew, those are some of the best 3 guys I've seen. When you talk about ball hawks, when that ball's in the air, it's not this ball's intended for the other team's wide receiver. When that ball leaves that quarterback's hand, that's our ball. Every time that ball leaves that quarterback's hand, those 3 guys, L'Jarius, Matthew, and Thornhill, they look at that ball like, and I'm not gonna leave out Sorensen. Sorensen's made some great interceptions. Like he freaking has robbed Phillip Rivers enough times to pay, like he owe him some money as many times he done picked out Phillip Rivers in a career. So he's done a great job also. But those guys, the playmaking ability from the 3 guys I've mentioned, they do it at a different level. They are true playmakers on every snap. And so when that ball is released, I smile a little bit because every time they throw a pass, it's anybody's ball, man. It's anybody's ball. So you got to make a team get into a pass mode, and obviously our team works in all 3 phases to get the lead, sustain the lead, win the ball game.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like our current front seven is good enough to continue that success with our secondary as far as like getting those turnovers?
Man, I love bringing Reed in, the guy from Seattle. I love bringing him in as a tackle. I think he's a guy that can really press. Like, man, again, getting to the quarterback is not always coming off the edge. When you have the guys, the Noddies, Calvin Sanders, Reed, when you got 3 guys that can really crush that A gap, because it's not about getting through the A gap to get to the quarterback. You get to the A gap because you want to change that line of scrimmage because you don't want the quarterback to be able to step up, right? Quarterback takes his drop 5 yards, 7 yards. You bring it off the edge. Well, then he steps up into a pocket and delivers a clean pass. You want to take your A gap, right, that line of scrimmage. You want to reestablish that line of scrimmage kind of in the quarterback's lap. So you want that quarterback to always be throwing off his back foot. Quarterbacks throw off the back foot, the ball sails, is interception. It's like the philosophy about rushing the passer is so like it happens so many times that it's not child. I mean, it's a lot easier said than done. But the defensive tackles recreate the offensive line. Take the offensive line, wherever that ball is snapped, deposit the center and guards in the quarterback's lap. Edge rushers, make him step up. Make him step up when there's nowhere to step up, and make him throw it off his back foot. And that's how linebackers tip balls, safeties intercepting balls, cornerbacks getting intercepted. Because when a quarterback can't put that same zip on it, right? They can't put that same velocity on it. That's when balls tend to sail high. That's when receivers, you're looking up the balls. So it all works together. And then every once in a while to mix it up, you do the reverse. Then you crush the edges and you bring 3 guys up the middle. When they think that you're just going to come power rush and bring tackles, then you have those guys go out and then you bring the linebackers and safeties and stuff up the middle. When you got a team, an offensive line cheating, going big on big. So, like I said, Spags does a great job with that blitz package, that pressure package. We just got to make sure from a back end, all those guys from a communication standpoint got to be on the same page, knowing their leverage, staying with their leverage, knowing where their help's going to be. when we double teaming guys, working to the double teams, cutting guys. When we have man coverage, somebody comes, you cut them off so you drop under somebody else. All that stuff just got to go. It comes from where you work at it every day. That communication level got to be on the level 10 every day, every play. We got to communicate, over communicate, so that you have that feeling like y'all just that bond. Right? When that bond happens on the defensive back end, you see some special things happening. You go back to Honey Badger intercepting Phillip Rivers in Mexico game, right? Covering the seam route, coming off the 7. He hits you with that, I'm in your head or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's just that secondary playing together. It's seamless, and it frustrates the quarterback because like you can't beat those 4 or 5 guys, 6 guys when they are all together. There ain't nowhere to throw it. There ain't nowhere to go to it. You can't run routes that can beat a secondary that's on the same page, that are disciplined, playing the right techniques and stuff like that. So everything they do as far as shifts, motions, and adjustments, that's why Andy is such a great pass coordinator. It's because everything Andy is doing with the shifts and motions is to get your communication out of whack, right? Having a linebacker having to communicate with a corner when he ain't used to it. Putting you in some funky shifts in motion to have people who aren't used to talking to one another having to talk to each other. And so when he have you communicating and then he figures out every time they see this look, there's a little bit of a misunderstanding between the safety and the corner. Well, now he knows how to exploit that for a touchdown like nobody else.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I miss our secondary picking out Phillip Rivers. That was fun.
I think that was one retirement. Everybody was like, no, don't go yet. Come on, man. I mean, take a pay cut. Do one more year, Phillip. Come on, stay with him for one more year. So,
right. Well, Shawn, man, we might have went over a little bit of the time, man. Certainly apologize for that, but man, I just want to thank you for coming on to our show tonight, man. We enjoyed it. You gave us a lot of insight. Looking back on the memories, 2003, even though it was a tough ending, you gave us all that, man. So just want to thank you again for coming on our show tonight, man. And
no doubt, man.
Back home, you family.
Yeah, anytime, man. You reach out. Obviously, we got a friend in common, OC Doc Carrington. So you reach out to him. Reach out. You got my number now. Reach out to me. Love to be on again, man. Before training camp, and then maybe before the season started, and before the Super Bowl. So just let me know, man. I always make time for y'all. I love y'all guys, man. I love what y'all do for the Kingdom. As many podcast guys, obviously showcasing their love for the team, but showcasing y'all got interest beyond just the normal fandom, right? You want to know the intricacies of the team. And so hopefully myself, Mitch Holtis, Matt McMillan, all the guys that got on the digital side to bring ancillary products to the fan base. So Kingdom Kast, let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And another thing, I gotta give you my shirt again. If you can maybe give me a few more signatures, because I appreciate the gesture you did at the time I went viral and stuff. I still got that shirt hanging up in great condition with all those signatures from the Chiefs ambassadors and stuff.
No doubt.
We're gonna rate that again. Set that up and whatever. So.
No doubt, man.
Hey,
yep.
My fault. And my uncle, man, I gotta say something, man, because he got your jersey, man. While we on the signature talk.
Oh, this your uncle? This your Uncle Boogie?
Yeah.
Tim
There you go right there.
Okay.
There you go right there.
Yeah, man, you need to bring that, man. So this, I don't know what to do, man. So this is what we should do, man. We should, you know where I'll be at? I'll be at 119th and Knoll at the Red Door Grill this coming Tuesday, because this coming Tuesday, every Tuesday in the month of June, Red Door Grill has been giving the majority of their proceeds to this place called Nourish KC. And Nourish KC has been trying to find food and resources for families that are what we call meal insecure. They don't know where their next meal is going to come from. And so they created these meal packages to be able to give them on a weekly basis to try to help that issue out. And so I've signed autographs at a different one every Tuesday. So from 5 to 6, maybe 5 to 7 p.m., I'll be at 119th and where that town center is. 109th in Overland Park. I'll be at Leewood. I don't know which one it's called, but 119th and Nall is at Red Door Grill. I'll be there. Bug, tell him to come back with the jersey, man. I'll definitely give him a Johnny Hancock on it. I got some other really cool things I signed, but definitely, man, if I have a chance, opportunity to see him. I've always been somebody that's very engaged with the community, man. Like I said, man, playing for the Chiefs, playing in the NFL at all that's been a privilege to me. I'm so humbled by the opportunity to be able to share my stories and my voice and anything, man. Because that's how you build a legacy, man. If you don't ever tell your story, it dies with you. So you got to be able to tell your legacy, tell people what you experienced, help young guys, and like I said, it was different camps going on and stuff like that, football camps. I try to talk to people about the balance and the leg work and the eyes. You got to train your eyes to see the right things, see the flashes, the triangle from the ball being hiked to the quarterback to the running back, from the guard to the running back to the quarterback. That triangle, you got to keep your eyes focused there and see flashes. That should take you as a linebacker. You don't ever look at anybody. So different things like that. My first and second year, I was reading the guards. But then, like I said, when I got talking to Spagnola, he was like, look, get your eyes off the guard. You got to read the entire triangle. You need to see the ball, the quarterback, the running backs, and the guard. Everything needs to happen in front of you. It's just a flash of colors. And as those things are happening, that should take you where you need to go. Seeing those flashes of color will take you to your responsibility, or it'll let you know you need to counter step and go the other way. And when I started to learn how to do that, again, that's when my game it just took a whole nother leap. And so I've been trying to tell young guys that. I'm telling guys, like, you don't got to wait until you get to the pros to have pro knowledge. I'm willing to tell you as early as you're ready to listen. So, man, that's just an honor for me, man, to be able to get on here with you guys and chop it up, go to different football camps and chop it up with young guys who want to play the game at a high level. So I appreciate all those opportunities.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Shawn, man. We appreciate you stopping by and showing us love, giving us a lot of knowledge about the game. Like, I never heard Spags defense really broke down like that, man. We certainly appreciate it. Put our name on Mitch Holt's ear.
All right. This have the Kingdom when y'all post this up, man. Follow me on y'all doing this on Twitter, on IG, whatever.
Yeah.
On Twitter, it's gonna be at Shawn Barber 59. On the IG, it's like Shawn Barber 785. I don't even know the numbers behind it, but it's easy. It's my picture on it. So, yeah, man. For whatever the social media feeds are, send it to me, and I'll go ahead and retweet it with Mitch and all the digital people, the ambassador group. I have everybody listen to that thing, man. So let's do it.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Shawn. Thank you. Well, that's another Kingdom Kast. That's another Kingdom Kast, people. We are out of here till the next one.